What's going on, guys? So, as many of you know, I generally stick with the NFL, but given that the NFL season is coming to a close, I am going to start adding NBA lineups once a day. Depending on the slate, I'll either focus on the main slate, turbo, late, or, one of those shorter slate games. Tonight, for January 20th, we're going to focus on the turbo lineup. I really like the games that are in that matchup. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm not going to speak a whole lot on this. Lately, I've been doing really well in basketball. Been averaging around 300 plus points a night. So I'm pretty confident in my lineup builds. Obviously, these are going to be primarily GPP lineups. So we'll keep them short and sweet. Feel free to comment on the comment section if you like or dislike any of my lineups or you have any suggestions. I'm always open to it as well. So let's just jump right into it and wrap this up pretty quick. So for January 20th, Turbo Slate GPP lineup, we're going to start off with James Harden. So Harden's going against Golden State. Golden State has proven so far this season, which they are my team, but they're proven to, you can get shots off on them. They're not the team they were last year or even the year before. For offense reasons, shooting reasons, Golden State's pretty aggressive. They generally can run the clock or the scoreboard up quite a bit, but so can Houston. Houston is definitely a shot-happy team. Harden is pretty much matchup proof. At 12,200, we need at least 50 points out of him, 60 points out of him for 5x value. But if you look over the last 5 to 6 weeks, that's something that he does on a nightly basis, no matter who they're going up against. So I expect tonight to be no different. I expect 60-plus points out of Harden easily. Now, he'll probably be one of the higher-owned guys, but I've noticed lately when you're looking at Westbrook's, Durant's, Harden's, even guys like Lillard and Lowry, their ownership's only been around 23, 26%. So it seems like a lot of people are fading those higher-priced guys. But with a matchup like this against Golden State, I think they're a must-play. So going next in the shooting guard position, we're definitely going to lock in Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's going against Atlanta. Atlanta is a decent defense, but they're not going to shut down a guy like Jimmy Butler. Similar to Harden, he's pretty much matchup proof. Over the last few weeks, he's been putting up some phenomenal numbers. Sorry about that. He's been putting up some phenomenal numbers. 55 on the 17th, going against Dallas, 40 against Memphis, almost 60 against New Orleans. So he's just putting up phenomenal numbers. Now, for him to reach value, at almost $9,000, we need about 45 points out of him. I think that's easily doable. Other than the OKC game on the 9th, he's been putting up 45-plus points consistently. So I really like Jimmy Butler tonight against Atlanta. He'll get plenty of work on there. Now, I will say with these higher-priced guys, definitely keep an eye on them. A lot of teams like to rest their studs for random reasons in the NBA I don't quite understand. So always keep an eye. If you're going to pay up for somebody, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000 or $12,000, keep an eye. They may be resting those guys, and you don't want to waste all that salary cap on a guy that's not going to get play time. So always keep an eye on that. So next up we're going with is Joe Johnson. So they're going up against Dallas. Now, Johnson's kind of I'd say he's a high-risk play. If you look, he has a very low floor for most nights, unless he's taking over the starting position. Now, I did read somewhere that he is going to be in the starting lineup for tonight. So I would definitely say Joe Johnson is a must-play. At $3,400, he's almost minimum salary. He should be getting around 25 to 30 minutes tonight. And, if you see what he did on the 16th against Phoenix, 23 points in 24 minutes. That's almost a point a minute. At $3,400, we only need 15 out of him. So if he plays 24, 25 minutes and he gets a point a minute, we're easily reaching 6, 7x value really quick. So Joe Johnson is a must play for me tonight. Next, we're going to run with another value play, and that's going to be Hamilton. I will say when I'm looking at my value guys, I do look to see if they're going to be taking on a starting position for an injured player, but I also look at the minutes they get and their overall production. If you look at Hamilton, he's not going to be your 25, 30-minute player. He is going to come off the bench, but he does some pretty decent shooting. He is a rebounder. He is going to average around 15 to 20 points, on average per night. At 3,400 bucks, I'm only wanting around 15, 16 points out of him to reach value. So I think he's a good, safe, low price value option that consistently puts up 5x value. So that's what I'm looking for out of him. At center, we're going to be going with Pachulia. So that Houston Golden State game, I think, is going to be a battle. I think it's going to go pretty high scoring. Pachulia is averaging around 20 minutes a game and around 20 points a game. So that's around 6x, 7x value. I think that's great at $3,500. He's easily good for 5, 6x's value. And if you do look, he's had a couple nights where he's gone for 27 points, 41 points against Brooklyn early in the season. So he does have a pretty high ceiling. I mean, I don't think he'll push around 10x's value against Houston, but you never know. I mean, any given night he can have a hot streak and go for 8, 10x's value. So next we're going to go with Williams. Where are we at here? There we go. So we're going with Deron Williams. So Utah-Dallas game, I think, has a pretty good point total on that game. I have to double check if they've updated anything there. But I expect this to be a pretty good shootout as well. Over the last few weeks, he's been consistently putting up over 25 points for the most part. He's had a few off games against Miami. He hit 22.8. But he is getting a good amount of minutes now. I know earlier in the season he was kind of babying a little bit of an injury. But he's averaging over 30 minutes a game, 25, 32, 38 points. I mean, he's good for around 5, 6x's value. Going up against Utah, I definitely think he's going to reach that value. Now, Utah's defense is pretty decent, but I still think Deron Williams is good for around 6x tonight. Next, we're going to go with Millsap. So going against Chicago, I think he's going to be a big man that's going to really be able to score some points tonight. Over the last few weeks, around 36 to 45 points. At $7,500, we need around 38 points to reach value. I think he's good for that. I don't think, they're going to shut him out. The one thing about Chicago is they're big on shooting. They're not big on defense, at least from what I can tell. He's averaging, other than, against Detroit, he hit 27 minutes, but he's averaging 30 plus in the upwards of 40 minutes a game. That's a lot of playing time for a big guy like that. Now, that means he's going to have a lot of opportunity to shoot, a lot of rebounding opportunities, and he even gets quite a few steals as well, so that's going to add additional value. Turnovers I'm not too concerned with. Anybody that plays 30-plus minutes is going to have a lot of turnovers. So, but I think Paul Millsap tonight is going to be good for, I would say, around 40-plus points going against Chicago. So, and then our utility position, we're going to be running with Evans. So Tyreke Evans, another fairly cheap mid-range guy. I don't expect a whole lot out of him. I'm hoping for around 30 points just to make value. But he does have that upside of 48 points, as you saw against Brooklyn, which doesn't say a lot. Against Orlando, he hit almost 40 points. So I like that ceiling. And in a tournament, I'm looking for guys that can get me a minimum 5x with a very high floor, but also have a really high ceiling and potential. And Tyreke Evans is definitely that guy. He does have, a few games earlier in the season, midway through the season, around 13 to 16 points. But for the most part, he's getting around 20-plus minutes a game, around 25 to 30 points. So I think he's going to be a good one to plug and play this week. His ownership generally is pretty low. I run him quite a bit, and I don't think I've ever seen his ownership over around 15 to 18%, even on the juiciest of matchups. So definitely like Tyreke Evans tonight. So that's going to be our lineup for the Turbo January 20th lineup. We got James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Joe Johnson, Hamilton, Pachulia, Williams, Millsap, and Evans. Appreciate you guys tuning into my videos. If you like this video, comment, subscribe, smash that like button. Like I said, I'm going to generally post at least one NBA lineup moving forward. I'll make sure to clarify which slate it's for. Depending on the night, I may post 2 lineups for 2 different slates if I really like the games. But this is what we're going with tonight. Again, I appreciate the subscriptions, appreciate the like and comments. Stay tuned for more videos, and good luck tonight.